For years, I told people that I did not like dogs. I believed it all to go on a healing journey and find out it wasn't the truth. I always say when you heal, you see things differently. My husband, more than anything, for many, many years, always wanted a dog. We got to a point in our marriage, many years back at this point, where I gave in. I let him get a dog. Now, granted, I was very hands-off at the time with the dog. The dog was very, very small and needed to be potty trained. And I'm like, listen, that's going to be all you. I don't want nothing really to do with this dog. Now, because I'm not a monster, granted, I still ended up being hands-on to some degree with the dog. We went through some crazy stuff. Long story short, the place we were living at the time, we ended up having to no longer keep the dog because of breed restrictions in the apartment we were in. And some other things that was going on at the time. I don't remember everything. I do remember we did everything we could to try to keep the dog and was not able to do so. So we ended up surrendering him. Now, I remember the day that we surrendered the dog. I was the one, my husband really couldn't gain the strength to take him in to the people. And so I did. And I remember partially feeling relieved, another part feeling really, really sad. So when I took him, a lady grabbed him on my way back to the car. I wept like a baby. Needless to say, I'm clearly not a monster. As much as I still thought that I did not like dogs, there was something about that dog that really just warmed my heart. And it was a really sad moment. And then I went back to proclaiming I don't like dogs. And no, you can't have another one. That was my posture. Well, my husband still wanted a dog. But we found out that we had people with allergies in our home. So it's not an option for a dog when people have allergies. After finding that out, telling him no about a dog, or I didn't even have to tell him no. He just agreed that it wasn't a possibility because we had some horrible allergies in our house amongst us. Well, me, I'm actually one of the people, and then 2 of our children. Now, how do I have allergies? I don't know. My body changed over the years, I guess, because believe it or not, I was raised in a house with animals my whole life. So now that poses the question, if you were raised in a house with animals your whole life, pretty much, why don't you like dogs? All right, this is where healing will tell you the truth and where your traumas will tell you a lie about who you really are. On my healing journey, one of the things that the Lord reminded me of was one of my earliest memories. I had to be about 5 or 6 years old. I remember where we were living. I remembered a lot next to our house. I remember almost just all of it. Most importantly, I remember a dog that we had getting hit by a car. I remember the car continuously going. I remember, I think my mom boyfriend at the time, carrying the dog to the back of the house. I remember his guts spilling out. That was a trauma for me that I buried and didn't even remember. So what my mind did to protect me was made me just feel like I don't like dogs. It was never the reality of me not liking dogs. Clearly, the dog that we had and I had to surrender and I cried, wept about, like, I wasn't a monster who just didn't like animals or dogs or what have you. I just was someone who had trauma that was not met. Unhealed trauma will have you out here thinking that you are a bunch of different things that you're not. And I love when we go to the Father. There's a passage in the Bible where Jesus says, lest you come like these little children, you will not inherit the kingdom of heaven. And I now have grown to understand what that means. It means that we have to come to a space where we are willing to question everything that we ever thought that we were and lay it at the feet of the Father so that he can give it back to us without the trauma views that we have on it. I'm not a woman that doesn't like dogs. Actually, it's the furthest. I would love to have one if we weren't dealing with so many, allergic reality, or I can't even talk today. So many allergic reactions in this house. I was a woman who had unhealed trauma around having a pet. More than anything else, I never wanted to feel that pain again of losing a pet. The thought of it today actually still bothers me, but I have grown and I've surrendered the hurt enough to a space where if my husband just would go for a hypoallergenic dog, we would have a dog. Why am I sharing this story? Because there's something about you right now that you believe it's a lie. When you have unhealed trauma, you believe whatever your perception from that trauma has created, that trauma's truth is not your reality. It's not the truth. The only way to actually go back to that factory reset mode is to surrender it all and lay it at the feet of God and begin to ask Him to pray, to tarry, to cry out and say, God, show me who you created me to be. Shy is a lie. He didn't create you to be shy. That's fear from something. At some point, someone silenced you and made you feel unsafe to express yourself. Heal. Healed people heal people. And so I healed so that I can come back and tell you all of the amazing stories I have so that you can too. It is not above you. It is not beyond you. Healing is for all of us. I promise you, it's probably the best thing. I mean, it's the best thing ever. I kid you not. When you heal, you see differently. And that means you'll see yourself differently as well. All right. This is longer than I wanted it to be. Hope you stuck around to the end and you were blessed by this and you begin your healing journey. If you have not read my book, Stuck in the Process, I haven't done this in a while. I think I got one sitting around on my desk. Yes. Get the book, y'all. Get the book. This is a little bit of a snippet. Well, it's not a little bit of a snippet. It's my beginning of my healing journey. And book 2 is on the way. God bless you all. Bye.